Welcome to Master the Science of Miracles, where we will explore the ancient science of transforming your ideas into your physical reality. Join us on a thrilling adventure that pushes beyond the limits of conventional beliefs about what it truly means to be human, as we unravel the truth about how powerful you really are. In each episode, we will discover the elements of the reliable, repeatable, step-by-step process for making the miraculous and ordinary part of your life. This is your portal to the extraordinary. So let the adventure begin. And now, here's your host, Ron Matthews.
Welcome back. It's so great to be with you again here today. We've covered a lot of ground together since we started this journey of mastering the science of miracles. So what I wanted to do today was just to pause, take a moment in time, and recap what we have covered so far in our journey. Because what I've given you up to this point is pretty much the entire system. Of course, there are going to be things that are going to cause you to stumble, and that's natural. That happens, and that's why I have a coaching program to lead people through that, because this is not new territory, but it's ancient territory that's being explored again here in the 21st century. So to recap, we started off by me recounting to you the nature of what Master the Science of Miracles is. It is nothing less than the revivification of an ancient science that allowed a culture over 10,000 years ago to completely eliminate all illness, poverty, and animosity from their culture. And they did that by being able to unify and understand the three components that make us all humans. And if you recall, those three components are the conscious self, the subconscious self, which we learned is actually distributed throughout our physical body, and what we call in the Master the Science of Miracles system, the transcendent self. That's the part of us that is beyond our comprehension. We can only know it by its effects. And in that way, it's a good analogy to it is electricity. I worked as an engineer and physicist for 35 years, and my field was electromagnetics. And I can tell you with certainty, I have no idea what electricity is, nor do any of my former colleagues, but we know it by its effects. In the same way, that's how we can know and understand our transcendent self. We're told in the ancient mystery schools, in the world religions, in the holy books of the world religions, without exception, that we are all created in the image and likeness of the creator of all that is. And since that creator is inscrutable, it's impossible for us to be able to understand it rationally. So too is that transcendent part of ourself. And it's through the cooperation of those three parts of our being that we're able to affect miraculous changes in our everyday life. That's why when I sign off, I invite you to make miracles an ordinary part of your life, because that's what the Master the Science of Miracles system is about and what it does for people who use it. So the first part that I offered was how to cultivate the energy of miracles. And if you remember, I talked about a point, an area in your body, everyone's body. It's just this many finger widths below the lower edge of your belly button, of your navel. If you measure from the top of your index finger at the lower edge of your navel, right here at the lower edge of your ring finger, that's where that point is. And It's special because it is a major energy storage point in the human body. And we talked about that universal life force energy that animates us, it animates all things that have life. And according to shamanic beliefs, everything has life. Everything from the mineral kingdom to the plant kingdom, the animal kingdom, the human kingdom, and even beyond in the realms that most of us can't see. This energy, when we are just hanging out, watching TV, playing a video game, reading a book, engaged in a conversation, that's what's called a quiet or quiescent state. And in that state, the vital life force energy that animates you collects from that point below your belly button. Now, the way to cultivate that and build that so you can store an excess charge of that energy is doing the things we talked about in episode 2 of this series. And that is focusing your mind on that point. And you may have to use your fingers and press in on that point so you can draw your attention to it. When you have your attention there, you're going to begin to breathe. And remember I said breathing, when you breathe in, you want your tummy to expand. Not so much your chest, but your tummy to expand. And you pretend, you make believe that you're breathing. When you inhale, you're breathing into that point. Now, of course, you really aren't breathing into that point because your lungs don't go down that far, but you're going to pretend you're breathing into that point. Do that 10 minutes a day. And I hope you're still doing it. Like I said in that episode, if you take nothing else from our time together, if you take that practice of learning to breathe in that new way, where you breathe so you're filling up your entire lung, and you know that's happening because your tummy expands when you breathe, and you're pretending, you're imagining that you're breathing into that point. In Chinese, that point's called a dantian, which means a sea, S-E-A, a sea of energy. And energy flows where attention goes. So in subsequent episodes of this series, we talked about energizing certain thoughts or thought forms of what you wanted your life to be when you've achieved your desired outcome. That is, whatever it is that you desire to do, to be, or to have. And I'll talk more about that in just a moment. The next episode after that was dedicated to basic mental housekeeping. This is so important because our thoughts are our reality. According to the 19th century prisoner in exile, whose name was Abdu'l-Baha, the reality of man is his thought. Now, before you dismiss that idea, let me share something with you. The average person experiences between 70 and 80,000 thoughts a day, every day. And 80% of those thoughts are the same thoughts they thought yesterday. So if you want to change your life, then change what you are thinking about. Tony Robbins, who most people have heard about through his videos, his books, said the quality of your life comes down to the quality of what you're thinking about, the quality of the questions you ask yourself. And so I offered a couple of pretty neat techniques that came from a 19th century psychologist named Emile Quay and a contemporary, he's passed on now, but Jose Silva was a developer in mind science. The first thing we talked about was how to negate non-resourceful things that you say. And the example was the death word. Oh my gosh, that food was to die for. Cancel, cancel. You've just given your subconscious, when you say that, that food was to die for, cancel, cancel, you've given your subconscious the command that when I eat this food, I am making preparation to die. Your subconscious does not understand facetious, doesn't understand just kidding, doesn't understand just mean or didn't mean it. What you say, your subconscious takes as an imperative, as a command. So when you find yourself saying anything that's non-resourceful, catch yourself and say, cancel, cancel. And then replace whatever the non-resourceful statement was with something more resourceful. Oh my gosh, that was the best food I ever ate. It was heavenly. See the difference? Just doing that will begin to change the way you think. There was a philosopher in the early part of the 20th century. His name was Krishnamurti, very, very widely known mystic. And Krishnamurti famously said, if you had any idea how powerful your thoughts are, you would never allow yourself a negative thought again, ever. And yet we treat our thoughts as the same way most people treat their kitty litter or their trash that goes out. They don't pay any attention to what they're thinking. And what comes out of your mouth is an expression of what is going on in here. The second element of basic mental housekeeping I gave you was better and better. The 19th century psychologist, whose name was Emile Coué, discovered that when he taught his patients to start off their day by saying every day and in every way, I am getting better, better, and better. He discovered that his patients who actually followed his instructions and did that experienced a material improvement in the quality of their lives. Once again, the power of thought. Jose Silva, who most people know from the Silva method or Silva mind control or Silva ultramind, Jose took that a step further. And he said, whenever anybody asks you how you're doing, reply by saying better and better. Because once again, you're giving your subconscious a command. So how are you doing? Better and better. All the time. No matter how good you are doing, you can always be doing better and better. No matter how bad things are going, you can always say better and better because you're giving your subconscious the command, this is what I am, this is what I'm doing. And your subconscious will obey everything you say. Everything. So be careful how you use your words and your thoughts. Then we talked about how to craft what I called a memory from the future. And this is where we begin to actually create a thought or a thought form of how we want our life to be when we have achieved whatever it is that we want to do, to be, or to have. And we talked about recalling a memory from the past first. That when you think about a time in the past when you were happy, you felt confident. You may have been with people that you loved and that loved you. When you recall that kind of memory, if you recall it in a way that you actually relive it, and I know you know what I'm talking about. There are memories where you can see yourself in the situation. Maybe it was a family reunion, a picnic, a party, whatever. You can see yourself with your friends. That's called a dissociative memory. Then there's an associative memory. That's when you recall the memory as though you're reliving it. And when you relive a memory like that, you'll find yourself smiling. You'll find yourself feeling the same way you did when you were in that situation that you are recalling. If you were to close your eyes when you recall that kind of memory, or any memory for that matter, but when you select a memory that has a high vibration, happiness, joy, love, gratitude, when you associate into that memory and you're in that space again, and you can feel it, you can feel the emotions, you can feel the happiness, the joy, the love. If you close your eyes as you are recalling that associated memory, your brain does not know whether this is a real-time experience or whether it is a memory. The only way your brain knows that is by context. So when you open your eyes and you attune your 5 physical senses to the present moment, then your brain says, okay, this is the present and that was a memory. I'm going to come back to that in just a minute because this is very powerful. And recall that I said when you are in that kind of a memory, if you were to intentionally affirm to yourself, these emotions I'm experiencing, these wonderful feelings I'm experiencing, are a part of me every bit as much as my eyes, my nose, my fingers, my toes. And since they're a part of me, I can choose to experience them anytime I decide to. When you were in that situation, that happy memory you're recalling, the reason you felt those feelings was because you had been taught or conditioned that in circumstances like this, it's appropriate to feel happy. But that's a decision that you made. So when you're in that memory from the past, claim those emotions, those feelings. Then the next step is to create a mental image of how you want your life to be after you've achieved your desired outcome. And then once you have that image, you can even turn it into a mental video. And you can imagine you're watching that video of your life as it is in the future when you've achieved whatever it is your desired outcome is. And remember I said to get up in your imagination and step into the movie screen and become the video. And when you do, choose to experience those same happy emotions that you felt in your memory from the past. This is how you ignite the power of your thought form, of your desired outcome, like rocket fuel. It's the emotions that you impress into that memory. So now you're experiencing that mental video as though it's happening right now, and you have all the emotions. That is how you send your intention to your transcendent self. And when you are able to go to the alpha brainwave state and do that, when you're able to go to alpha the way I taught you when I showed you the Master the Science of Miracles centering exercise. That was that guided imagery that I led you through, and there was that hum in the background that probably put you into a daydream state. When you go into that state and you watch your mental video and you experience the emotions and the feelings that you decide to experience because they're yours, they're part of you, you can choose to experience them anytime you decide to. With your eyes closed at alpha, your brain believes this is happening in real time. And because you're at alpha, when you affirm that this is my life in the here and now, look how wonderful it is. There's no cognitive dissonance because you're at alpha. And at the alpha brainwave state, Your mind is not constrained by time and space. So you can make any affirmation you want at alpha, and there's no feelings of anxiety or stress or discouragement or guilt. That's why most people don't succeed using affirmations. Because when you are at beta, which is where I am right now, and probably where you are as you're watching this, when you're at the beta brainwave state, if you affirm something that your conscious mind knows is not true, then you're going to experience cognitive dissonance. That is not the case when you go to alpha the way I showed you in the centering exercise. Now here comes the part where things can get tricky. Let's suppose you have decided that this is what I want. I want something that could be, for most people, the big three are financial, money issues, relationship issues, and health issues. Now, if you have decided that you desire something which violates a contract, and I'll explain what I mean in just a moment, then when you begin to move towards that, when you express your desire in the form of this mental video, and you begin to step into it, the chances are very good you're going to feel that cognitive dissonance at some point. You're going to feel anxiety. You're going to feel as though something is not right. I should be happy here, and I feel guilty. And if you recall, in one of my previous episodes, I talked about that. That things that we are taught by well-meaning parents, by our education system, by the media, whatever, they go in very deeply into our subconscious, and they become our values and our beliefs. And because they are part of the subconscious, they operate beneath our conscious awareness. That's why it's called subconscious. These beliefs you are holding on to get triggered whenever you do something that violates them. So your beliefs may have been around money. You may have been taught by your parents or by whomever that rich people are dishonest. They aren't good people. Cancel, because that's not true. Money is not the root of all evil. The Bible says love of money is the root of all evil. Money is an amplifier. Think of how much good wealthy, good people do in the world. Money is an energy of exchange. However, if you've been taught that having money or wanting too much money is bad, then you're going to experience cognitive dissonance when you begin to step into a reality that has you living an abundant, wealthy, affluent, happy life. As wonderful as it is, if this violates something you have been told, often referred to as a contract, you entered into without even realizing it. When you challenge that, when you act in opposition to that subconscious contract, you may very well experience anxiety, stress, guilt, whatever, all symptoms of a cognitive dissonance. The same thing can be true of health issues. If you've been taught that a certain ailment is hereditary, oh, that runs in my family. Diabetes runs in my family, cancel. Cancer runs in my family, cancel. If you find yourself expressing, God forbid, you find yourself having a certain ailment, if it's something you've been told is part of our family, then you are just obeying your social programming. You're obeying the contract that you entered into without even knowing it. And because it's subconscious, it's happening beneath the conscious awareness, you're not going to know what it is. And that's why I gave you a method for interrogating your subconscious using either the energy test I showed you, which is to take two okay signs like this and just link them together. And now if I state a truism, my name is Ron, and I pull really hard, it's really strong. However, if I say, my name is Henry, and I pull really hard, it's not strong anymore. Try it yourself. If you think I'm faking it, try it yourself. When you say something, when you express something that you on some level know is untrue, it will reflect in your energy system. And that's why muscle testing is such a powerful tool. The other method I showed you was to use the pendulum. And the purpose of all of this is to begin to identify what the nature of the thing is that's causing you cognitive dissonance when you step into your mental video of how your life will be when you have achieved your desired outcome. When you step into that video, it should be a wonderful experience. Think of it. You're where you desire to be, and yet all of a sudden you feel bad. It could be fear, it could be guilt, it could be whatever. You can use these tools, either muscle testing or the pendulum, to interrogate your subconscious and just play 20 questions with it. Is it fear that's causing this? Yes or no? Is it guilt that's causing this? Yes or no? When you hit on a yes, then you have identified what the thing is that's causing you to experience this bad feeling. And the bad feeling is the thing that will stop you from being able to send this wonderful image to your transcendent self. Because these complexes, as Carl Jung, the famous 19th century psychiatrist, called them, these complexes actually impede this process. Then once you have identified what it is that's shutting you down from being able to enjoy your mental video, then I gave you elements of something I call the personal demon demolisher. And if you recall, it was in two parts. The first one was to hold these neurovascular points. I showed you about that. Or you can use tapping, emotional freedom technique. I'm wearing a microphone today, so I'm not going to tap right now, but the points are the eyebrow, side of the eye, under eye, and so forth. Go online, look it up, or you can email me, ron@masterthescienceofmiracles.com. And master the science of miracles before the .com is all one word. Email me and I'll send you a PDF file that contains all the elements of the personal demon demolisher. And you can go at it, watch the video yourself, use the tapping. The important thing is to clear away these complexes that are preventing you from being able to join into that video from the future in a way that supports those happy emotions. Like I said, those happy emotions are the rocket fuel that powers these thought forms that you create. So that's the whole system. The first part, I hope you're going to practice for the rest of your life, and that is the breathing into the belly, focusing on that point below your navel. Next is to create your thought form, your memory from the future. And you can do that by going to the alpha state. One of the things I neglected to say just now was when I talked about that guided imagery that I gave to you, that centering exercise. The chances are good, as I said at the end of that episode, the chances are quite good that when you listen to that, you fell asleep. Everyone does. When you resolve, I'm going to listen to this thing until I can stay awake, then you begin to enter into the alpha brainwave state, as a resource state, not just as falling asleep. And when you operate there, when you step into your video from the future, when you're in alpha, it is so powerful. Once you're able to listen to that entire centering exercise without falling asleep, do it every day for 30 days. It's 28 minutes. Every day for 30 days. After 30 days, on average, for most people, you will have the ability to go to alpha all by yourself. And the way to do that is to just close your eyes, take a deep breath, and as you exhale, mentally repeat and visualize the number 3 times. Then take another deep breath, and as you exhale, mentally repeat and visualize the number 2 3 times. And finally, take a deep breath, and as you exhale, mentally repeat and visualize the number 1 3 times. And then affirm to yourself mentally, I am now at a deeper, healthier level of mind, deeper than before. And you will be at alpha, I promise you. Then once you're there, you can do anything you want to. You can program your subconscious to do anything you want it to do. So once you have a word picture of your thought form of your desired outcome, create the mental video of it when you're at beta, count yourself down to alpha, create that mental video like you're sitting in the movie theater. As it plays on a loop again and again and again, get up from your seat mentally in the movie theater, walk up to the screen, step into it, and be the video. That is the process. That is the process. And then use the demon demolisher to clear out anything that's causing you anxiety, stress, guilt, whatever. So in subsequent episodes, I'm going to go through specific examples with you. We'll take one from a wealth example, having to do with money. We'll take one from a health example, having to do with your health. We'll take one from a relationship example. And these will be generic. They have to be generic because I don't know what you want. I don't know what your situation is. But if you use your imagination and your creativity, and you can figure this out for yourself. Confucius, the famous Chinese philosopher, once said, if you show a blind man one corner of a room, he should be able to find the other 3 corners on his own. So I'm showing you at least one corner. I know you can find the other 3. I know you can. Keep up the good work. I hope that you're enjoying this as much as I'm enjoying bringing it to you. And until next time, make miracles an ordinary part of your life. Bye for now.